Welcome to the ARM School programme. This video is taken from our teacher training programme on edX.org called Teaching with Physical Computing. Whether you're new to teaching computing or a specialist, this programme will set you up on a path to becoming an expert in delivering technology-enabled project-based learning in the classroom. In this module, we will explore how project-based learning can help to build resilience within students, as well as how learners can be taught to recognise the positive contributions they make to a group, no matter what their specific skill set is.
In this module, we will explore how project-based learning, PBL, can help to build resilience within students. How many times have you observed a student giving up midway through a task because they feel they can't achieve it? By embarking on PBL, we can help students to develop strategies to overcome these feelings so that they can be positive contributors. Bandura emphasises the importance of observing, modelling and imitating the behaviours, attitudes and emotional reactions of others. He proposes that behaviour is learned from the environment through the process of observational learning. Students often want to seek approval from either their teachers or peers. Positive approval makes a student feel happy, so they will adopt this behaviour. When taking part in PBL-type activities, the student will seek approval both from their peer group and their teacher. Social conditioning operates as the bridge between traditional learning and the cognitive approach. It focuses on how mental factors are involved in learning. Bandura proposes that humans process information and think about the relationship between the behaviour and its consequences. These mental factors determine whether a new response is acquired. Individuals do not automatically observe the behaviour of a model and imitate it. There are some thoughts prior to imitation. This is the mediational process. There are 4 processes proposed by Bandura. The individual needs to observe the behaviour and its consequences and then form an opinion on that behaviour. Students will observe many different behaviours on a daily basis, but only some of these will be remembered. Attention is therefore really important, and whether a behaviour influences others. PBL offers many opportunities for positive reinforcement. As other students observe, they are likely to behave in a way that seeks these positive comments. This relates to how well their behaviour is remembered. If it is noticed but not remembered, then it obviously stops the student from imitating it. One of the major benefits of PBL is that it is very engaging, and students get involved with practical activities that they really enjoy. This all helps with retention. How easy is it for a student to perform what has just been modelled? We see behaviour on a daily basis that we would like to imitate, but this isn't always possible. PBL allows a great deal of differentiation, which ensures that students should be able to reproduce a particular skill in their own specific way. How willing will the student be to perform the behaviour? If the perceived rewards outweigh the perceived costs, the behaviour is more likely to be imitated by the students. This is why the concept of fail early, fail often is so important in PBL. A student should be encouraged to make mistakes and build upon those mistakes to come up with a better solution. Many of today's most successful products were initially produced as concepts, which may not have always been practical. Through the constant development of new solutions, this design refinement process will ultimately lead to a better product being produced. Students shouldn't be afraid of making mistakes. They should be encouraged to be as creative as they can, as this will ultimately result in a better solution being produced. Emotion has a major impact on students' cognitive processes. Think about how you felt going into an examination. It is likely that you were nervous. We need to prepare students to deal with their emotions so that they can perform to their potential even in pressurized situations. Explicitly teaching students about how to deal with their emotions is a relatively new concept in the classroom. As we embark upon PBL activities, we can take the opportunity to discuss how people feel as the project progresses. When students are introduced to a new project, some may feel excited and want to get started straight away, whereas others may feel nervous and not sure where to start. By working with PBL, we can ensure that students develop the skills to deal with their emotions. Students who have the most difficulty managing their emotions may display this through poor behaviour. It is important that the teacher remains patient and helps them to deal with their emotions. By being very hands-on and teamwork orientated, PBL can help them to develop these skills. Personality is defined as the high-level traits associated with how an individual interacts with other individuals and groups. Some students may naturally dominate a group situation, whereas others may naturally be quiet and reserved. It is important that all members of the group respect each other and are willing to listen to each other for new ideas. PBL helps to ensure that students will gain confidence and learn to operate in roles which may not naturally suit their personality. Learned helplessness occurs when a person has experienced a stressful situation repeatedly. They can come to believe that they can't control the situation, so they don't try. It feels as though everything is totally outside of their control. Being able to deal with this feeling is really important, as it can lead to increased stress levels. Within PBL, there is a great deal of variety, both within individual tasks and within different roles. Students should be encouraged to feel positive about their experience in school. PBL can be used to help to ensure that all students can achieve. Engagement refers to a joint approach between the student and the teacher. Student engagement is a route to success and an outcome of excellent teaching. There is a shared responsibility for engagement, which can be aided through using PBL. A typical PBL lesson is very much a partnership between the students and the teacher. Scaffolding refers to the process which we use to support learners. All of the PBL lessons have various levels of scaffolding built in. The key difference between a project that a Year 7 group embarks upon and one that a Year 12 group embarks upon is simply the degree of scaffolding which is provided. Within an individual group, you may find that different students need different levels of support. Each of the PBL projects has a cheat sheet which guides students towards a potential solution. Where a coded solution is required, sample solution files are also provided. You may find within a particular group that one student requires a lot of support, whereas another student may require none. This is where the PBL approach really comes into its own. Each member of the group will have their own specific tasks to perform, which means that you are able to give one individual a fully guided solution, whilst giving another student in the same group the autonomy to follow their own approach. When you review a scheme of work, you will see that projects early on in the scheme have detailed success criteria, whereas at the end there is a project where students write their own criteria. The fact that different levels of scaffolding can be provided helps to develop student self-confidence and therefore resilience, as all are able to positively contribute towards the overall project. As you get to know your students, you're more than likely going to be able to predict which specific areas of a task they may struggle with. Some learners may struggle with the initial ideation stage, whereas others may struggle to adequately plan a project. Some students will prefer to launch directly into a coding solution, but then come unstuck when there is an error in their logic. By being able to predict where these hurdles are likely to be, we can start to develop strategies to preempt them and then overcome them. All of the PBL activities are carefully planned so as to support learners in following a structured approach to problem solving. The whole focus of PBL is positive in nature. It should encourage students to feel good about themselves regardless of their academic ability. Students should be rewarded for using their initiative and thinking outside of the box. How many times have students received a task and then come up with something entirely different from what was expected? Students will quickly learn that perseverance is an important skill to acquire. Having larger projects in PBL helps students to develop perseverance and to recognise that ideal solutions may take a long time to develop. PBL is naturally inclusive in nature. Students will work in multidisciplinary teams and each will make a positive contribution towards the overall success of the project. Students will be respected by their peers for their specific contribution towards the project, regardless of their background. We hope that you now understand how PBL can positively contribute towards students developing resilience.
To learn more, head over to edX.org and search for project-based learning and enrol for free.